All right. Welcome, everybody. I feel excited to be here this morning. I know it's only been a week, but for some reason, it feels like a longer time. So many things have happened. We had a full moon, there was Easter, there were lots of celebratory things, Passover. It's a wonderful time of year. And as we're recording this, at least in the Northeast, it is cold and rainy and probably should be snowing, but it's not. So we're going to warm things up today with a Energizer class focused on warrior poses. Today the moon is in Sagittarius, and I always think of the warrior poses with Sagittarius because Sagittarius rules the legs. And the archetype of Sagittarius is centaur, so half human, half horse. So I think of like the strong legs of the horse and then the human on top, right? Which is essentially like a warrior, especially a warrior two pose. So we'll be working through and around that with a little bit of abdominals and hip stretches as well. So let's get started. And let's start standing up with some standing warm-ups. On the cold, cloudy days, sometimes it helps to start standing up. Take a few moments to find whatever comfortable spot, move around a little bit, twist around, explore your space with the arms even. Oh, big stretch. Just check in with yourself in whatever way that looks. More people come in. You could even take hands to the body if you like, but it doesn't have to be still. You could move. And I like to start by looking around the space, even behind you. That helps actually give the body a twist and tells the nervous system that this is a safe space for you to be yourself, to move freely. After checking out outside, check inside with yourself. And notice what is here. What is your experience? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations. And this is a constantly changing thing, right? In 2 seconds, it will be different, especially with new inputs, new movements, new experiences. So can you ride the wave of all of it, all the emotions, sensations, feelings, thoughts, without any judgment as to like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, or I should be doing this move a certain way. We can put a lot of rules on ourselves. And there are plenty already that exist that we work within, right? So can you, for today, for the next short period of time, use my words and my guidance simply as that, a guidance or an invitation, but not a must do. All right. Keep your feet wide and maybe bring your hands to the tops of the thighs for standing cat-cow pose. You can arch your back, stick out your bum, look forward, and then round into yourself. And go back and forth a few times to wake up your spine. You choose the pace, you choose the size of the movement. And start to feel your legs and the connection that you have with the ground, the earth. The next time you're feeling complete with one round of cat-cow, come on up to stand and take a side body stretch. You could bring your arm over with you. You could hold on to one or both hips. Do it in any way that feels good for you. And then try the other side. And it can look different over here. Try one more to each side. And if you want to play with a variation that I love, cross one leg on top of the other and then go in that direction. So you're kind of standing on one leg, but with the help of the other. Sometimes I feel like this gets into a different spot, more into my hip area. So notice what's true for you. And then switch other side. And again, you can do this version or your own version. All right, and then step the feet wide, turn and twist it. Lovingly hit yourself with your hands, patting the back as you turn and twist, and tapping or patting the front near the armpit, chest area. You might turn this into a hip circle at some point, around and around. And this area of the body, right, that we call the hips, there's a lot more anatomically going on than just the hips, but it's this really interesting connection between the lower body and the upper body, right? And so sometimes it can feel like it can go the other way, that the two are not talking to each other. But the good news is, have you ever tried to turn your hips in one direction, but move the other direction? Like it doesn't actually work. So whichever way your hips are pointing gives you your direction. So that's really the function of the hips, is to give us the direction. The knees take us there, right? But the hips point us in the direction. So I might make some references to that later. All right. Speaking of directions, take your left foot out to the side and take your left arm overhead. So kind of like the side body stretch, but you're just stepping to the side and reaching out. And you can do this a few times. You can do it a little bit faster if you like, or you can add a jumping jack to it. Totally up to you if jumping doesn't feel right or right now. Then you can come back to something a little slower, a little smaller, a little less jumpy, or you can switch it up. Just a few more seconds here to wake up the body, warm up the arms. And then slow it down. Woo. All right, maybe take the one arm into a circle. Any size, any speed, change directions. And then other arm, other way. I'm just waking up the arms a little. This is what I call the Michael Phelps move, but it's more like the swimmer, swimmer shoulder move. So come to the front of your space, whatever that is, whether it's a mat or something else, and step your left foot back like you're coming into a high lunge or a warrior one lunge. And your hips are giving you the direction of forward here, right? And then press off of the back foot and come back to your starting position. And then try the other side. So step back like a warrior one. You're welcome to bring the arms up if you like, but we're going to do other things with them in a moment. Pause, feel your stability here. I love warrior poses for that confidence building. And then step forward. And then back. We'll start a rhythm. This time as you step forward, maybe you shift so that your knee comes forward with you and then step down. And you can do that on both sides of the movement, at the beginning and at the end. You can skip the knee lift if it doesn't work for you. It's just something extra that you can add, right? Keep going. And if you're interested in adding a little hop, when you come forward and bring your knee forward, jump or not. So option to hop, option to stay lower to the ground or close to the ground. And your arms can be doing whatever. Mine kind of want to jump down as I jump, lower down as I jump. If you want, you can bring them up overhead as you lean back with the leg, right? Warrior one, and then swing them down as you jump up. Adds a little bit of momentum. Again, you don't have to go very high. Heart rate's starting to pump up a little bit more. Great. And the next time you're standing, pause for a moment. I'm sort of swaying because I don't want to stop completely. Notice what's true for you. And then walk your hands down towards the floor in a forward fold. Grab the floor and walk back to downward facing dog for a moment. Press into the hands. Feel free to move the legs around in any way that you like. You could take a leg up to the sky, like three-legged dog, and stretch. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Woo. Sometimes when we go backwards, it's harder, right, than going forwards. Go forwards now. You can choose to stay in downward dog or lower the hips and come into plank. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Forward bend. We're going to go back and forth a few times. So you choose where you want to end, whether it's plank or downward dog, and then walk back. All right, let's try a couple more. And the next time you find yourself in the plank position, pause and hold. Bring your knee, doesn't matter which one knee over towards the middle by your nose, like you're trying to curl up. And then scooch it over to the side a little bit, to the other side a little bit, and then back to plank. And then switch, other knee forward towards the middle, like you're trying to touch your nose. Shift it to one side, shift it to the other side, back to plank. You can do this with one knee down, right? From modified plank, you can skip the little knee side to side thing, or knees lifted, or none of the above. Your own thing. All right, I got one more in me. Back to hands towards the feet, forward fold at the back of your space. You can grab opposite elbows if that would feel good, or for me, my hands want to go behind my tailbone now to stretch out the arms. Bring your hands to the tops of your thighs and come on up, strong to stand. Beautiful. Step forward with your right foot and come into a side warrior lunge, a warrior two. And see if just for now, you might take a slightly shorter stance than your like stand here and stay warrior two variation, right? So we're going to turn this into a dynamic shape. Feel free to have the arms wide if you like. This is the centaur pose, the warrior two, the Sagittarius embodied. And then see if you can bend your front leg enough that you can spring off of it and come back to your back foot. All right, so you may have decided or discovered that you got too long on your mat. So when you step forward this time, maybe take a shorter step just to, experiment. Bend into your knee and then step back. So we're trying to go back each time. right? And this doesn't have to be a big move. It's a lot of action for the quads, which are the front of the thigh. And then you can experiment with maybe taking it a little bit wider and springing off of that foot. Your arms can be doing whatever feels good. It kind of feels natural for me to open them as I step wide and bring them down by my sides as I come together. You might have something different. You might be going up overhead. Try a few more on this side. And when this side gets tired, we'll switch. Woo. I'm just going to do a little turnaround. So now my left foot is in front, or the one that's bent. Start with your warrior two stance, maybe a shorter version, right? And then play with the dynamic movement, pressing off of your left foot to come back. So it's very different to step forward and walk the other foot forward than it is what we're doing, which is to step back. Maybe a little more effort required when we go backwards. And I highly recommend walking backwards. Super great strengthening for your ankles, your knees, your legs in general. Just find a spot outside where you know the spot is relatively smooth and you can practice walking backwards. All right, I've got one more in me here. And then step wide on your mat, but feet parallel, and fold here for a standing wide ankle forward fold. You can grab onto the floor or to a block, or if you're near the edge of a couch or chair, that it can be a really nice variation too. Nice. And then make your way down to sit. Take your feet flat to the floor and swish the knees from side to side if possible. And then roll all the way down onto your back. Draw your knees in towards your chest. And cross your left ankle on top of your right thigh for a reclined pigeon pose. You can stay right here or plant the right foot on the floor or reach through the legs and grab the back of your right thigh. When you draw the legs in towards you, you'll probably get some feelings through the outer edge of the left hip. All right, if you're grabbed onto the leg, release the hands, but keep the legs crossed and the right foot up off the floor. And squeeze the left ankle against the top of your right thigh. So you're not just holding it there, you're kind of squeezing actively. And hopefully that means you feel some engagement here in the belly muscles in the trunk. Take your hands behind your head. You can interlace the fingers if you like, and bring the elbows wide. When you're ready, engage the abdominals, lift the head up off the ground, and take your right elbow and try to reach for your left knee, the one that's over on the other side. It's okay that they don't touch, but that's the direction that you're going, right? And then unwind. You can rest your head down if you like, or just hover the head there, and then do that same twist again. So your legs are staying mostly in that position, with the ankle and the thigh pressing actively towards each other as you turn and twist. Ooh, maybe it's all the other work that we did, but I'm getting some feelings in my legs, even though this is more about the trunk as well. Try a few more. Ooh, all right. Lower your head, lower your right foot. You can unwind the arms so that they're wide now, and then scoot your hips a smidge to your left so that you can let the legs fall into a reclined twist to the right. If that was too many things to think about, or it doesn't feel good, you can uncross the legs and take a twist however you like. And then use your arms to press against the ground to help your legs back up. Uncross, maybe do a little kick in the air or a little swish, whatever feels good. And then we'll do that sequence to the other side, starting with reclined pigeon. So this time the right ankle will be on top of the left. And remember, both sides are not going to feel the same, so they may look different. Like this side, oh, it feels like I have a different body part in my leg on the left side, or excuse me, the right side. Sometimes it can help to have a blanket under the head, or you don't have to grab onto the legs here. And then when you feel complete with your pigeon stretch, let go of the hands, but keep the legs crossed in that figure 4 shape. Really connect the ankle and the top of your opposite thigh, right? So you're squeezing that point at that point together. Your left foot is off the ground, hands behind the head, elbows wide. And now use the abdominals to lift your head and take your left elbow across to your right knee and then down. Keep the legs engaged and continue a few more times with this twisty figure 4 abdominal power move. I'm not sure what else to call it. Lots of feelings. Whew. Remember what I said about changing and riding the roller coaster, all the feelings, all the emotions, all the sensations, all the thoughts. All right, I've got 2 more in me if you're still with me. And then undo. Relax the left foot down. Prepare for the twist now. So maybe your arms come out wide across the mat. Scoot your hips a smidge to your right so you can let the legs twist and fall to the left. And then use your arms to press down into the floor to help your legs back up. Unwind, give it a shake, or a swish, or a squeeze, or a stretch, or a little bit of whatever feels good. Next. Oh, excuse me. And then take a moment and decide what would feel good for your body to feel complete with your practice this morning. For me, I'm doing a little bit of circles with my hands on my knees. And really, it's more about the massage on my low back against the floor. You might choose something else, maybe a bridge with the feet flat, lifting the hips. I love that just after some hip work to feel like my left and right sides coming back together to work together. You might take the soles of the feet together, the knees wide for reclined butterfly. If you have blocks to support that, you're welcome to use them. Take a few moments to move and stretch in any way that your body's asking. And then find a place where you can close your practice. You don't have to be still, just a place that you feel restful, including maybe sitting up against a wall or staying down on the ground, whatever is right for you. Sometimes the body loves action and movement. And sometimes the body loves rest. So give yourself the next few moments to be in that restfulness. And just like even a little bit of movement or exercise or asana practice counts, a little bit of rest is also very worthy. 1 minute, 3 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is counts. It counts for you, it counts for your body, it counts for your mind and your heart. Find a way to thank yourself for taking this time to be with you, to be together, and to be hopefully feeling more yourself as you move through the rest of your day. I thank you so much for your presence, your practice, and I wish you a lovely, lovely rest of today.